Well, an Arkansas police chief is under investigation after a cell phone video showed him hitting a person in a wheelchair. Osceola, Arkansas, and the eastern part of the state is now conducting an independent review of newly appointed Chief Robert Ephlin. You can see in the video people surrounding Ephlin, and then he appears to slap the person in the wheelchair before officers come to restrain him. The mayor says that the city has initiated a review process with an outside agency and an investigation is underway. You can read more on our website, 5newsonline.com. And authorities say that they have identified some human remains that were found in Hot Spring County on Monday. The sheriff's office initially sent investigators to a remote area of the county where they confirmed that the remains were human. The sheriff's office said the state crime lab identified the remains as Michael Blaine Cockman, who was reported missing back in 2021. We are working to learn more. Well, Iran and the U.S. agreed to a 2-week ceasefire less than 2 hours before President Trump's deadline to strike the country's bridges and power plants. Now, both sides are claiming victory while working towards a permanent solution, which President Trump says is far along. Natalie Brand has more from the White House.
The Pentagon says the fight against Iran is over for now as negotiations continue with the hope of a long-term peace.
The joint force remains ready, if ordered or called upon, to resume combat operations with the same speed and precision as we've demonstrated over the last 38 days, and we hope that that is not the case.
Pakistan, which helped mediate the ceasefire, has invited Iran and the U.S. to meet in Islamabad on Friday for further discussion.
We will go for negotiations to see how serious the other side is.
Speaking in Hungary Wednesday morning, Vice President J.D. Vance called it a fragile truce.
If the Iranians are willing, in good faith, to work with us, I think we can make an agreement. If they're going to lie, if they're going to cheat, if they're going to try to prevent even the fragile truce that we've set up from taking place, then they're not going to be happy.
President Trump posted this morning on social media that the U.S. would be working with Iran to dig up their enriched uranium stockpile. And in exchange, America is talking with Iran about tariff and sanctions relief.
A key part of the ceasefire agreement is Iran reopening the Strait of Hormuz to allow oil tankers through that key corridor. Pentagon officials say they believe that is starting to happen.
Our military is watching, I'm sure their military is watching, but commerce will flow. And that's what you saw the markets react to, is that reality.
Oil prices dropped nearly $20 a barrel in overnight trading, but are still above pre-war levels. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Well, in Arkansas, lawmakers are set to take up Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders' proposed $6.7 billion budget. Today, that proposed budget increases spending by about 3%. The Education Freedom Account program, created under the LEARNS Act, would receive more than $309 million. The school choice vouchers allow students and families to fund their chosen education option. It's $122 million more than last year, and another $70 million set aside for future.
When you are trying to keep annual spending from going up by no more than about the historical average of 3%, and so much of that is going towards this one program, that leaves very little else for all of our other critical needs.
Well, we don't know where this program is going to max out at. You know, it's extremely popular amongst a lot of students across the state, a lot of parents across the state for the school choice that they're getting right now. So we need to kind of figure out and make sure that we have a responsible financial future.
Well, lawmakers returned to the Capitol just minutes ago at noon to officially begin this session. Governor Sanders is set to deliver her State of the State address that will start at 12:30. Pensacola voters passed a school bond to fund an $11.8 million activity center for the school district. The bond passed with 62% of the vote. The superintendent said the current facilities are outdated and overcrowded. The new one is planned to have 1,200 seats. The superintendent says property taxes will see a modest increase, with some homeowners paying about $18 more per year, while higher tax bills could see larger increases. Well, now to the Arkansas Secretary of State race, where a recount was requested. Saline County and Central Arkansas election officials say that their recount showed no differences from last week's runoff election results. Republican candidate Brian Norris requested the recount, with the results showing he lost by 900 votes to State Senator Kim Hammer. All counties that have done a recount have come back with no changes. Miller County will hold one on Thursday. Hammer says the recount process has been educational and shows how Arkansas' system can be trusted.
I think the recount verifies that the system we have shows why we're the #1 state in the nation for election integrity and security, because all the paper recounts are coming back 100% accurate.
However, Norris sent us a statement and says that he's not accepting the results of the Saline County recount. He claims Arkansas election laws were violated during the recount. Norris and his attorney say that the county did not allow his representative to view the ballot counting, and ballots were handled by poll workers who were authorized to handle ballots. The winner of the runoff will face Democrat Kelly Grape come November. Well, fire leaders in Lincoln say a recent decision by the Rural Fire Board to cut funding for their department could impact emergency response in the city. The board will meet today, and fire leaders hope that the funding will be brought up again. The Lincoln Fire Department responds to around 1,100 calls each year, with about half of those happening in rural areas. The funding that has cut helped cover the cost of responding to those rural calls. But now, with that money gone, the assistant fire chief says that they're being forced to reevaluate how they staff each shift.
To have 24-hour coverage, and with them pulling that cuts about 24 hours of part-time help a week. And when you're trying to provide 24-hour fire coverage for your city, any budget cut hurts.
Well, the department is turning to the mayor and city council, asking them to consider increasing the fire fee on water bills to keep operations running. And local leaders got an inside look at Fort Smith's new 911 dispatch center this week. Congressman Steve Womack joined Mayor George McGill and the board of directors for a tour of the operations center. It's located at the Fort Smith Police Department, and it consolidates the city and county dispatch centers into one central location.
Trying to improve the ability of us to dispatch first responders to people in need, then I think that's exactly what we should be doing. So this was a fact-finding mission today, and I got to hang out with some of the most dedicated people in the city.
The official consolidation of 911 services happens the first week of July. Well, some big concerts coming to the Walmart Amp were announced this week. Bob Dylan is coming to Rogers on July 3rd. He's bringing along Lucinda Williams and her band, plus the John Doe Folk Trio. 3 weeks later on July 25th, we have the Turnpike Troubadours who are playing a show. And then finally, Billy Idol is making a stop on his world tour at the Amp on September 19th. Tickets for all three concerts will go on sale to the public on Friday. And a lot of good acts coming up at the Amp in the coming months. You can find the full list of those shows coming to Rogers this summer by texting the word AMP to the number right there on your screen, 479-785-5000, and we'll send you back a link to our master list.